right, Evan Ginsberg back with another edition of Evan Ginsberg's Legends TV, co-hosted as always by my buddy Steve Ludwig. How are you today, Steve?
Very well, Evan. And yourself?
Good. It's a little earlier.
Breakfast with Ginsberg, I
That's
think,
right.
is today's show.
That's right. And Steve, you saw Cyndi Lauper last night. What was that like?
Oh, I'll tell you, Evan, she's celebrating the 30th anniversary of She's So Unusual, the LP. She did the whole album, first song through last, in order. Her voice is as good as it's ever been. She's just, what a great entertainer. Great the way she moves and dances. She has some great stories to tell between songs. Anytime if you get to see Cyndi, go see. I know you're going tomorrow night.
I'm going tomorrow night at Queens College, and I'm a Queens College graduate, so that should be nostalgic to go back to the campus. And Sly Stone we saw the previous week together, and that was a different story. Tell the viewers a little about that.
Unfortunately, I mean, I love Sly Stone. He is one of my all-time favorites from 60s, 70s. And he just, unfortunately, he's been having some personal problems, and we saw him at B.B. King's, and I don't think he saw anybody in the audience. He was just not in good shape. I think he sang a total of 1.5 songs, I think we figured, with Rufus minus Chaka Khan was backing him, and it was just, it's a shame. I think you mentioned on your radio show, it's a anti-drug message right there, seeing Sly on stage.
It was your worst nightmare realized. Sly is like the god of funk and R&B and everything else in between, and you know, to see him, you know, just a shell of himself. He didn't even look like the same guy.
No, if I were to see a picture of him, I wouldn't be able to identify him.
Yeah, it was really tragic.
It
was
tragic. He could practically speak rather than sing. I mean, remember he called some people up on the stage and gave them dollar bills. You're gonna have to sing for me. I can't sing tonight. You know, and that
he said, quote, I can't hit the high notes anymore.
Yeah, I need tricks or something, he said.
I need tricks, I actually walked out of there depressed, and it wasn't fair to Rufus, because they're super tight, awesome band. It would have been better just seeing them by themselves, because he was a distraction.
He was. I saw a gentleman last night at the Cyndi Lauper concert who was at B.B. King's, and I said the same thing. I said, you know, Rufus was great. He goes, Rufus was fantastic.
Yeah.
But like you said, everyone left Sly Stone on their tongues.
The two female singers with Rufus were great. They didn't have the charisma that Chaka has, but they were tremendous.
They certainly
tremendous.
held their own.
Yeah, and such is live music. You don't know what you're going to get, so thumbs up for Cyndi and thumbs down for Sly.
Cyndi's great. You're going to love the show tomorrow night. And anybody else that gets a chance to check around this tour, definitely.
Looking forward to it. And speaking of great music, you have some legends coming up on your radio show. Tell us about that.
Yeah, thanks. The show is Steve Ludwig's Classic Pop Culture, and you can listen to it on planetludwig.com. I have, and you know, I do this every week, and I hope the people don't mind, but I can't have the show without my sponsors. ABCMoversandShakers.com, FlacoCoquito.com, the healthier coconut rum, and ASComics.com. But this Tuesday I have from the Hollies, Terry Sylvester. Now when Graham Nash left to form Crosby, Stills and Nash, Terry Sylvester took his place. So Terry Sylvester played on songs such as Long Cool Woman, Air That I Breathe. So, and plus he played the Cavern Club way back when, shared the bill with the Beatles. So we have some good things to talk about. I have one of our guests from next Legends TV next week, Carol Williams. Disco Queen, she sang More.
Yeah, for Salso Records,
right?
yeah.
And it's not strictly a music show. I also have a gentleman named Tom Mealy on this coming Tuesday. He just happens to be co-owner of our own Madhouse Studios here. And he's going to tell us, okay, if I want to have a show of my own, what do I do? And he's going to take us step by step, affordably, how to broadcast a TV show.
And they're streaming the Gloria Gaynor show today from Long Island. So check out madhousetv.com for all the details on that. Gloria Gaynor, Funk Philharmonic, and a ton of great Long Island bands live this afternoon. Check it out at Madhouse TV for the link and all the info.
I'll be watching.
Hot.
Absolutely. Yeah. Music lovers, I mean.
No doubt, no doubt. I saw Gloria Gaynor back in the day with Roy Ayers. That was an interesting double bill. Roy Ayers is great. Love Roy. And speaking of great music, right here next week at Madhouse TV, we're going to have Carol Douglas, Doctor's Orders, Carol Williams Moore, who we just mentioned, Tar from the Bush. So it's rap meets disco. And James Arena, who wrote a great book on the disco divas. And
yeah, the First Ladies of Disco.
First Ladies of Disco, right. That's right, James Arena. And there will be right here in studio, and that's going to be hot. And later today, we have filmmaker Solomon Chertok discussing indie film. He's a buddy of ours. And
the always intriguing
Solomon Chertok.
Solomon Chertok,
that's
for
right.
sure.
That's right. Yep. And before we do that, we have a clip. You do a series on YouTube that you edit, produce, direct, called Behind the Scenes at Madhouse TV. And we want the viewers to see just what goes on here. It looks simple, you know, you're sitting on a couch, a desk, a tiny stage, but there's a lot involved, and we'll give the viewers a little...
thanks to our great crew.
That's right.
It all comes together.
That's right. We're going to give the viewers a taste of just what goes on here at Madhouse TV. This is rapper So Soon, Sound of Something Out of Nothing, and Johnny Loftus, who's a percussionist who sells beats. Interesting guy.
Yeah.
Lofty Beats.
B-E-A-T.
That's right. So let's go to the video clip, Behind the Scenes, directed by Steve Ludwig. Check it out, folks.
Thanks.
Dig in when you're done.
Thank you so much. We are here with the host, Mr. Evan Ginsberg. Evan, what can we expect on today's edition of Legends TV?
I have no idea, because everything is improv. We do it old school. This isn't like these lame-ass talk shows where everything is scripted, where they're pre-interviewed, where they're every second.
You know about this. It's like this. It's a long way from here to where I'm gonna plug in, tune out, start zoning. I don't care about the panhandling or the homeless. I just wanna plug in, tune out, and start. Hey, allow me a moment of your time. I'm hoping you don't mind. From the moment I arrive, all I hope is I survive between the slowness of the ride and uncontrollable grind in my mind. All I hear is engine number 9. Well, looking inside from outside of NY, many think they're inside of a movie with Tubi on the inside, ride to ride daily. It feels more like a game entering the Call of Duty. And so we plug in, tune out, plug in, tune out. Big headphones again, gotta squeeze the juice out. AC ain't working, so this train is bad. And my feet straight hurting, cause I still put mad. Stop playing musical chairs to obtain a better spot, while the elderly is standing in the patientless squat. Some are alive, some are dead, some are green, some are red. Summertime, sun don't shine underground for bobbleheads. A long way from here to where I'm going, so I'ma plug in, tune down, start zoning. I don't care about the panhandling or the homeless. I just wanna plug in, tune down, start zoning. And so we plug in, tune down, plug in, tune down, plug in, tune. You know I'm saying what I'm saying. Plug in, tune down, plug in, tune down, plug in, tune down. Got my dead head side now. I with one and with the next. That head golden kids with the candy fun. Raise up for their teens. Orphan Annie's as crazy as it seems in the city that seems to never sleep. I perform exceptional myself to the beach. It's a long way from here to where I'm going, so I'ma plug in, tune out, start zoning. I don't care about the panhandling or the homeless. I just wanna plug in, tune out, start zoning. And so we plug in, tune down, plug in, tune down, plug in, tune. You know I'm saying what I'm saying. Plug in, tune down, plug in, tune down, plug in, tune down. It goes left, right, up and down, 360 all around. Move your head to the sound. This is how it's going down. Headphones open to your iPod. It's dead like our Pujols. So kick it right, hit it with some Puerto Rican judo. The horizontal tangle never dry you like nail dryers. But my love for you was burning like hellfire. Back, 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 back. I gotta get back. I gotta get back. I gotta get back. Back, 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 back. I gotta get back. I gotta get back. I gotta get back. Back, 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 back. I gotta get back. I gotta get back. I gotta get back. Better beside, so should I mess with the D or the F to the E? No, I think a yellow cab sound better, I agree. It's cheddar, but whatever, all I wanna do is see my lady. This traffic is crazy, 10 minutes. I gotta get back, 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 back. I gotta get back. I gotta get back. I gotta get back, 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 back. I gotta get back. Yeah. Don't do it for the Yankees. Next track, Maestro. Slow it down a little bit. Peace and a life full of sin will follow if you're eating. This is the word that the Lord God speaking. But if this is the case, then I don't want to believe him. Call me a heathen. Cause anything he made to weather the four seas, whatever the treatment, deserve to be treated with respect and sweetness. But instead, neglect and reckless speaking replace affection and caresses and sweetness, which now reflect on your flesh through lesions, bruises. Fruit for the soul misused and abused is enough for a dude like me to move in. But I can't intrude in. Hopefully you can forgive me, but certain elements forbid me. Yeah. What am I supposed to do when I can't get close to you? Cause Miss Thing was more like a sibling, long distance and instant for disdain. Still, I was there when shit hit the wind blades. Often lost like orphans, caught with walking corpses. Despite all of my cautions, I can smell acids from here to Massachusetts. When you needed love, you just wanted something to screw with. Cupid is either dumb, blind, or stupid. Cause now I want something that would cause confusion. Seclusion is my only conclusion, plus a few photographs to help feed the illusions. Delusions of grandeur, damn her. She represents what it is to love, and love is a hell of a drug. Stronger than your five senses combined to make a sixth sense. Without your senses, you just can't survive. In other words, love stronger than being alive. In that Sunday dress, it's a heathen's disguise. When that seed for me holding you, what am I supposed to do when I can't get close to you? When the world won't let me be alone with you, and all I really wanna do is be holding you. They say pain is love, love is painful when you're searching above for the love of angels, the mental seduction, which turns into gentle touching. One side of the mind saying we ain't supposed to.
Give the names right away.
He needs the correct spelling of your name so he could tag this. You want to go in there? Thank you.
Well, like you said, Mr. Ginsburg,
How hot was that?
it was very hot. As usual, two of them together, a lot of energy.
S-O,
There you go.
capital S-O, capital S-O-O, and one word.
Did you ever consider filming it yourself and then having that show play? We could play whatever you send us for your hour. You don't have to come to the studio, is what I'm saying. If you know, if a band is playing at a concert somewhere and you want to film them and use that and do interviews and everything and just have somebody quickly edit
So
it.
soon. What do you think you said? I think it was fantastic.
You know?
A lot of these guys
Going on a scale of 1 to 10 and somewhere around 3,700.
That's good. There are numbers not high enough. It's
Yeah.
infinite.
Something around there, I think.
Great
It
set.
was amazing. I had fun hosting the show, producing the show, lighting the show,
Great directing too.
recording, filming the show, engineering the show, playing the drums. You know, this is
It's the So Soon show.
man of many hats, pun intended. No, seriously.
Pun intended.
It was a pleasure.
Come in here and talk
Anything that
and not play.
that gentleman in the background does is gold.
I know.
And he's delivered nothing but that and more to me. So it's a pleasure and an honor to be a part of the show. Shout out to Steve.
It was a pleasure.
I want the camera to see the handshake.
Check it out. It's on the monitor out there.
And we'll leave you with these words of wisdom from So Soon.
Never let life stop you from living. Never let living stop you from life.
All right, we are back, folks. And those of you who know me, I've worked with Darren Aronofsky, world-class director, on The Wrestler, but he doesn't touch Steve Ludwig, what you just saw, the masterpiece that you just saw.
Thank goodness.
There you go.
Yeah, Evan, we're sitting here on the couch with the great Solomon Chertok, and you're saying, director, producer, Steve Ludwig, great.
Yeah. And
We have a real one coming up.
Speaking of Solomon, he'll be with us right after the break, but we just want to tell people that later in the show, you have the T-shirt for your book.
Shameless
There you
promotion
go.
here.
See you in CCU.
You're going to be reading from your book.
You're going to read from that. I'm going to read from my book, Apartment 4B, like in Brooklyn, something a little different today, a change of pace. And as we said, next week, Carol Williams, Carol Douglas, Ta from the Bush, author James Arena, loaded show next week.
Oh, yeah.
And folks, we're going to be right back after this brief timeout with filmmaker, director, actor, writer, Renaissance man, Solomon Chertok. Don't you dare go anywhere.
Hi, I'm Steve Ludwig. When I was 52 years old, I had quintuple open heart bypass surgery, and I wrote a book about it. It's called See You in CCU. Apart from having my rib cage sawed apart, I experienced temporary loss of memory, depression, and sleepless nights in unbearable pain. A lot of people might think there's nothing funny about that, but I think it all depends on how you look at it. See you in CCU.
Welcome to Formula Auto Wash, where every day is a great day for a car wash. Open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Sundays 8 a.m. till 4 p.m. Detailing packages for every budget, starting out at $29.99. 100% hand wash and detail centre. Hogshair and microfiber brushes and mitts. Proudly using Ecolab Blue Coral soaps and waxes. Formula Auto Wash has served the community for over 30 years. Senior discounts all day, every day. Ladies' Day Wednesday, $3 off any wash. Early bird discount Monday through Thursday till 9:30 a.m. Check out our website, formulaautowash.com.
For professional motorcycle transport and towing, think Kickstart Fabrications Motorcycle Towing. Proudly serving all of Long Island, we feature expert handling and 24/7 service. So send a limo for your toy with Kickstart Fabrications Motorcycle Towing.
This is Beth.
Hi.
Oh, congratulations. When are you due?
I'm not pregnant.
Oh, look at that. Excuse me.
You're totally thin.
You look very sexy.
For life's bleachable moments, all it takes is 3/4 of a cup.
Brooklyn's best locksmith and hardware.
We have 3 of the largest showrooms of safes on display and in stock. You can see and touch them in person instead of browsing a catalog. We carry gun and rifle safes, burglary safes, jewelry safes, fire rated from a half hour to 2 hour. Famous name brands.
We sell Gardol.
We sell AMSAC.
the new ANSAC touchscreen.
If you're ever in need of a safe, think Brooklyn's Best, Locksmith and Hardware. Right, Lockie?
That's right, Alan.
So then I said, Mr. Prime Minister, I'm flattered that you love chocolate, but I'm here strictly in a professional. What's wrong with him?
He thinks you're naked.
My shell is brown. It just looks like my milk chocolate is showing. Only a fool would think I'd actually show up naked.
So it's that kind of party. Hit it!
I'm sexy and I know it.
Aye.
Look at that body. Look at that body. Look at that body.
I work out. Wiggle, 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 wiggle.
All right, as the graphic says, we are back. And we are back with one of the most beloved figures in the New York arts community. He's a true supporter of actors and filmmakers and everybody involved in the film industry here in the New York area. He is our friend Solomon Chertok. Welcome to Legends TV.
Thank you, Evan and Steve, and it's an honor and pleasure to be there. And just so that you should know, I paid him to say that.
Yeah. So Solomon, you've done all kinds of films, but you tend to lean towards shorts. And tell us what's the appeal of short subjects?
I think more in terms like it was some with shorts that one, it's not as much expensive as it is with an independent feature-length film, but a lot of like filmmakers, actors always got their big breaks with shorts. Lucas, Scorsese, Spike Lee. All of them did their shorts.
Steve Ludwig.
Steve Ludwig. Yeah. Great. I mean, that was on his phone right there.
Yeah.
Great quality.
Yeah,
I mean,
slink under the couch.
But I think the appeal with shorts is because it's a little bit less expensive than doing a feature-length movie. But then again, there is an expense. But you never can tell. A lot of these people get their big breaks from short films.
And you've worked with some people who have subsequently made a name for themselves. Tell us about some of the people you've worked with.
A whole bunch of people that I've worked with from films include Debbie D, Scream Queen, as well as Tina Kraus, Melissa Coates, who you had on the show, wrestler, Dawn Marie, former WWE diva, as well as Stacy Kessler from Bravo's Millionaire Matchmaker, a whole bunch of them, but each one is a different personality. I've also acted in movies that had like Mick Foley, the wrestler, as well as Mario Cantone from Sex and the City. So it's very interesting when you get to work with them to see what they're like, and you get a couple of funny stories as from behind the scenes wise what they're like too. So it's an experience.
What's it like working with women wrestlers in film?
Well, I could tell you from the experience that I had with both Melissa and Dawn, they were very nice. The whole thing was how to work with them, how to put them, and as you'll see later on in the show, like with Melissa, I decided to put her as this female bodybuilder who has a sugar daddy husband who's like 70 years old, who kind of looks like Willie Nelson. So, I mean, you have to figure out how to put them together, and it's just like mixing and matching, and they have a fun time doing it too.
And you're involved with a big film festival this weekend, which you're clutching in your hand. Tell us about that.
Right over here, it's the New York City Indie Film Fest, which is going on this weekend. Believe it or not, I have a film screening there, which I acted in, but I didn't produce it. It's called I Love, which I actually am the voice of the male lead's iPhone. It's about these two iPhones that are in love with each other, and their human owners break up, and the iPhones try to get them back together so that they can be back together.
It's a great concept.
Mm-hmm. And it's believe it or not only is it screening at this film festival, it was screening at another film festival at the Anthology Movie Theater this same weekend. It screened last night there, and Sean Young was also at the Anthology Film Festival there too. So you never know who you're going to see there. And Sean Young was from Blade Runner, No Way Out, Wall Street. And this film festival here, too, also has films that have celebrities in them, like Walter Koenig. Chekhov from Star Trek is in one of them. Shannon Sussman, who was Heath Ledger's love interest in A Knight's Tale, is in another one. But I Love is actually screening tomorrow at this film festival. at the Producers Club, which is on 44th Street and 9th Avenue at 4:45 to 6:45. It's screening with a couple other short films, and it's a really cute romantic comedy that I think anybody could get involved with and love, especially anybody who has an iPhone.
So let's go to a clip.
Who isn't that?
Yeah, let's
here's
check it
the
out.
trailer for our I Love.
Looks great.
You know, go ahead, Solomon.
Well, one thing I want to say is, even though it's a short film, I can tell you the film is not 30 seconds. That was the trailer. The film is like 10, 13 minutes. I don't want people seeing it go, is it really that short? It's not. It's not 30 seconds.
It's a short, but it's not that short.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's the film is a social commentary also, it seems. I mean,
Oh,
from that clip.
absolutely. One thing that is trying to make a point is how much people are using the iPhones now for not to talk on the phone, but rather like go on the internet, listen to music, and God knows what else they do. But believe it or not, I don't even own an iPhone. I still have the old-fashioned flip phone, and I just use it for calling, like, hey, how are you? But I think you have an iPhone, and I think you have an iPhone, too.
No, I have a phone that Fred Flintstone used to use. It's yeah.
The iRock.
Yeah, the iRock.
Gotcha.
Solomon, I'd love to ask you a question about one of your movies, Staten Island.
Oh, that actually, to me, was a wonderful movie that, unlike that movie, which was shot on digital, I think that was shot with the red camera, but I'm not sure. That one was actually shot on like 35 millimeter or 60 millimeter film, and it was kind of like Fast Times at Richmond High, which it's set in the 80s. It takes place in this high school in Staten Island about these free kids that owe this loan shark named Fat Tony a lot of money, and they have to less than a day to pay him back. But this film had like a lot of different celebrities, a couple of them that I mentioned. Mick Foley, the late Mayor Ed Koch was my high school teacher in the movie.
Wow.
Chris Judd, Jennifer Lopez's second ex-husband, was in
That's
the
a credit.
Yeah.
he was in the movie. Mario Cantone from Sex and the City was in the movie
great.
as well. But believe it or not, I actually, in the film, I get beaten up by Fat Tony, who, believe it or not, the actor is like 6'7", 300 pounds. And I'll never forget, Danny Aiello was on the set, and he got to meet the actor playing Fat Tony. And the look on Danny Aiello's face when he met the actor was like, thank God I am not in this movie and acting with you.
Yeah.
Because he was like looking up like, holy cow.
Do you prefer acting to producing and directing? What's your first love?
My first love will always be the acting, because it was my boyhood dream ever since I saw my first movie in a movie theater, which was Star Wars. And ever seeing that, that's what I wanted to do. The producing, the writing, all that stuff came in like later, secondary, but because I wanted to make films in terms of producing and writing that I wanted to act in, I wanted to see, and that to me, my love is always acting. And that's why you guys have a chance to see I Love, where you get to hear me, you don't get to see me. Although you do get to see me as an iPhone, so I'll be a little bit smaller and a little bit more animated, but...
the icon is an iPhone.
That's
Icon,
right.
Solomon
There you go.
Chertok.
And we
Real
did
funny.
a film together, a story about Ian. Tell the listeners, the viewers, a little about that.
That was also the first time I got to work with the Red camera, which everybody now is using the Red camera. They've used it in like Spider-Man, the reboot, The Social Network. Pirates of the Caribbean has been using that camera. But that was the first time I got to work with it for director Philippe Kasparazic, but also an amazing cinematographer, Ida. I can't remember her last name or pronounce it correctly, but the film was about this guy named Ian who's in his 20s and he's having a quarter-life crisis, not a midlife crisis, but a quarter-life crisis. And basically he wants to be like this Annie Leibovitz type of photographer. And he's stuck working for this over-the-top photographer named Dean Roderick, played by real-life photographer Barry Brown. And he's kind of stuck working for him. He doesn't like working for this guy. Plus, he's suspicious that his girlfriend is cheating on him, and he has a strained relationship with his father, played by none other than our own host over here,
That's right.
Evan Ginsberg. And,
I froze my ass off in Washington Square Park filming this.
That's why we needed to get your butt prints on a bench. We had to. You didn't autograph it though, but you should have autographed the bench there.
Evan was here.
It was quite an experience.
And
the 20th take, it was quite an experience.
Exactly, and that film had, in addition to Evan, Lauren Francesca, who was famous for her Lady Gaga spoofs on Barely Political, that website. That's also the same one with the Obama girl. She's in the movie, as well as you'll see later on, as we show on the show here, like Scream Queen Debbie D, Scream Queen Tina Kraus, Melissa Coates.
You have a thing
Dawn
about
Murray.
lady wrestlers and Scream Queens. I could tell.
Well,
You say that like it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Well, put it this way, it gives you a lot to juggle with. One could hold you up, and the other one will keep you, give you an earache with the screaming right there.
So why don't we show the clip from
Here's the
Story
trailer
About
for Story About Ian.
You're listening to WMIA Radio. This is your host, Ian.
What are you escaping from?
What do you mean? You might be moving too fast.
Problem with the ladies?
Dad, I'm perfect.
Do you need more money?
Who doesn't? So you really could just go and leave everything? There's nothing here that I'd miss.
Ernest Hemingway once wrote that he started to lay with the ladies once he started to lie to them. You've been hanging with Charlie Danger. Stay golden.
Oh, thank gosh. Lucky man, it's 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7.
This is Ian, Dean's second assistant. How can I help you?
And we are back, and you briefly saw yours truly in that clip, and it was interesting doing that scene because you almost felt like father and son when we were talking in the park.
Well, you and Matthew Dunhu, who played your son, just from the casting of it, you're about the same height, you had the same look, and there was always that chemistry right there between you and him. And believe it or not, his band actually you heard some of the music in the trailer, but his band actually provides some music for the movie. And he was a pleasure to work with. I think that, I don't think it was his first film, but I think that was like maybe his third or fourth movie.
He's very talented. I think he has a lot of potential, sincerely.
I have one of my many dumb questions. What's a red camera?
The red camera, I mean, this is the technology that's coming out there because you have Sony, you have Canon, you have Panasonic. The red camera is a big camera, but the thing is, it's the quality. I mean, I wish I was a cinematographer to explain it more, but it's like the sharpness of the picture.
Oh, okay.
It's heavy. You really need training because if you're not trained in using this camera, it can look like mush.
Mm-hmm.
But believe it or not, Ida, the cinematographer, and everybody, I mean, this film screened in March at the Winter Film Awards, which we were both at, Evan, and it also premiered in Greece at a film festival there. But I do know your pal, Aronofsky, met Ida, the cinematographer, and complimented her. Yeah. And she gets around. I mean, some of her films have screened that she
Beautifully shot, beautifully shot.
That's the thing, the cinematography is just, I mean, she's amazing. I just wish, Ida, if you're watching this, please move to the U.S. I know you're in Poland, but everybody wants to work with you, and she's just amazing. Even Mark Ruffalo, she was telling me, complimented her. I think it was at Sundance for another movie that she shot, and it's just amazing with the cinematography.
You can tell just from the clip that's quality. And set up the final clip for us, Solomon.
Well, the final clip, actually, in the movie, we actually do see, because he works for this over-the-top photographer, Dean Roderick, me and Barry Brown actually co-directed this fake commercial that appears in the movie. And as we said, Debbie D., Tina Kraus, Melissa Coates, Dawn Marie, a lot of these people appear in this commercial, which kind of gives you an idea of what this Dean Roderick is like. And you'll see a couple of people, including myself, in the commercial. And believe it or not, in the trailer, that last shot, you could actually see me in the background with Matt. But you'll get to see us, and you get to see more of what we do in this commercial. So enjoy the Dean Roderick commercial.
looking for somebody to capture and shoot all your party guests? Well, I don't spare anybody. I'm Dean Roderick, and I'm the best photographer.
You don't believe me? Ask my clients.
Thanks for shooting my prom pictures.
Dean, thanks for taking my college grad photos.
Dean, thanks so much for filming my promotion party at work.
Dean, you've done all my photo work, including my first wedding.
Hey, I'm Hector Bossa, the sexiest, hottest promoter in New York City. I just want to thank Dean for filming my rave parties. Thanks, Dean.
I'm Johnny Z, I'm a talent agent. I want to thank Dean for taking my actor, my actresses, taking all the headshots, getting all the publicity I need for them, and getting them connected. Thank you, Dean.
I'm Zing, the owner of the hottest club in New York. I'd like to thank Dean for all the pictures he takes at my club. Thanks, Dean.
Dean just shot my pumpkin sweet 16 birthday party. There were 200 people, 200 plus. There was more. It was like, I don't know. I can't even. There was pink everywhere. There was purple. She loves purple. Look, the pink flowers. Do you see the pink flowers? It was a fantastic.
Mom,
it was that's not here, really. She sang her own song. I can't believe it. We're gonna use this for our face page pictures. She is going to have this on her album cover. We're gonna do an album. Look at the camera, honey. Look.
I gotta tell you, nobody does pictures better than Dean. And you know what? I'm even thinking of having him do just my guitar.
Hi, I'm Dawn Marie, and I'm a professional wrestler. And I would have never been as successful as I was if it wasn't for my friend Steve. He is the most amazing. Okay, just one more time, okay?
I want to thank you for the amazing photo shoot that landed my sugar daddy husband.
We are loving it.
Your photos made me a soap opera superstar.
Those pictures amazing. Our 15-year anniversary, incredible stuff there. I don't know if it's a special camera or what technique you use. They're incredible, right, honey? They were the best.
Unbelievable. And don't forget the airplane coming by with the banner falling down with our names on it. Oh my God!
Amazing stuff there. We owe you so much, Dean.
Unbelievable. I'm telling you, get your pictures taken by Dean now. Now!
Dean, you're the best.
Thank you, Dean.
You're the best!
Dean Roderick Studios. There's no one like him.
The best boss.
He makes me look amazing.
You're the best.
Dean, you're the best.
You're the best.
The best. The best.
You're the best. Everybody dance.
You don't know how to dance.
I said, oh!
Any Fiesta, 1-800-7-SHOOT-ME. Hi, I'm photographer Dean Roderick, and I approve this message.
There you go. Solomon gets involved in some interesting projects, to say the least.
Busting a move.
And Solomon, tell the viewers how to get in touch with you and all of that good stuff.
Well, one way is for any information about me, go to the Internet Movie Database, www.imdb.com, and type in my name, Solomon Chertok, SOLOMONCHERTOK, and it'll tell you all the information about me. Or you can contact my agent and manager, Evan Ginsberg and Steve Ludwig. If you want to get me...
Not technically, but we'll help you out.
They'll hook me. They're my agent and manager over here.
Yeah. And Solomon, thank you so much for appearing on Legends Radio.
Same
Legends
here.
TV, I should
Legends
say.
TV.
You were just on Legends Radio.
And I was also on Steve's show as well, so I was doing what you guys both there.
That's right. And Solomon, thank you for all you do for the film community, and you always look out for everybody. And when you champion someone, you truly champion them, and a lot of people are indebted to you.
Oh, thank you, Evan. It was always an honor and pleasure working with you, and I can't wait to work with you as well on a movie. And for last minute word, everybody, tomorrow, Sunday, 4:45, Producers Club. Go check out I Love at New York City Indie Film Fest at the Producers Club.
That was like a wrestling promo. That was good. That was.
It works right in there.
There you go.
You're doing your King Kong Bundy right there.
There you go, folks. And we will be right back with Steve Ludwig reading from his book, See You in CCU. Don't go anywhere. Thank you, Solomon.
Are you planning an event and want to include entertainment, but you're not sure where to turn? Act1Entertainment.net has provided over 1,500 events with quality, affordable live entertainment at private parties, corporate affairs, festivals, bike rallies, and more. Act One will fit into your budget. They're friendly, reliable, and do all the legwork for you. They take all major credit cards. Log on to Act1Entertainment.net for a free, no-obligation price quote, or call 631-758-3505 for a brochure. You'll be happy you did.
When your cable's on the fritz, you get frustrated. When you get frustrated, your daughter imitates. When your daughter imitates, she gets thrown out of school. When she gets thrown out of school, she meets undesirables. When she meets undesirables, she ties the knot with undesirables. And when she ties the knot with undesirables, you get a grandson with a dog collar. Don't have a grandson with a dog collar. Get rid of cable and upgrade to DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. When your cable company keeps you on hold, you get angry. When you get angry, you go blow off steam. When you go blow off steam, accidents happen. When accidents happen, you get an eye patch. When you get an eye patch, people think you're tough. When people think you're tough, people want to see how tough. And when people want to see how tough, you wake up in a roadside ditch. Don't wake up in a roadside ditch. Get rid of cable and upgrade to DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. When you pay too much for cable, you throw things. When you throw things, people think you have anger issues. When people think you have anger issues, your schedule clears up. When your schedule clears up, you grow a scraggly beard. When you grow a scraggly beard, you start taking in stray animals. And when you start taking in stray animals, you can't stop taking in stray animals. Stop taking in stray animals. Get rid of cable and upgrade to DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
Brooklyn's best locksmith and hardware.
We have 3 of the largest showrooms of safes on display and in stock. You can see and touch them in person instead of browsing a catalog. We carry gun and rifle safes, burglary safes, jewelry safes, fire rated from a half hour to 2 hour. Famous name brands.
We sell Gardol.
We sell AMSAC.
The new AMSAC touchscreen.
If you're ever in need of a safe, think Brooklyn's best locksmith and hardware. Right, Lockie?
That's right, Alan.
Hi, I'm Steve Ludwig. When I was 52 years old, oh wait, that's my commercial, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, I had quintuple open heart bypass surgery a few years ago, and I wrote a book about it, and I'd like to read to all of you right now a chapter, very short chapter. It's called Let's Shuffle Wimpy to the Chair. That first night after the procedure was by far the haziest, most surreal time of my entire hospital stay. It was 2:15 early Saturday morning, almost a full day since my operation. It was at that time when 2 of my nurses lost their minds. They went to my bed and told me it was time for me to walk from my bed to the recliner chair. Huh? I thought I had a few more months before considering actually moving. And how were they going to accomplish this impossible feat? I couldn't even blink my eyes without fear of my chest staples popping open. And they want to move my body? I was sure they had the wrong patient. Does the doctor know they're going to do this? Who gave the okay? I would have talked to my congressman. Hey, who is my congressman anyway? Are these 2 even real nurses? Maybe there's couple of those cheese-eating candy stripers they allow to walk around this joint. When the nurses positioned themselves on each side of my bed, I knew I was doomed. So this is how I'm going to die, trying to move. That chair had to be at least 2 whole feet away, but there was no fighting it now. I didn't have the power to resist. Okay, sweetie, slide over little by little. They were talking nicely because they knew I was going to die. I was on to their little game. Me slide over? I was scared to breathe too hard, and they wanted me to slide over. Somehow I did it. The nurse on my right side gently slid her arm behind my head. Oh no, what good can possibly come of this? We're going to sit up on 3. We are going to sit up on 3. 1, 2, 3. I gave my obligatory, ugh, moan. The other nurse swung my legs slowly over the side of the bed. It suddenly occurred to me that they knew exactly what they were doing. They hadn't lost their minds. I had lost mine. I relaxed a bit. Yet I was pretty sure the step down from the bed to the floor would end my life. It didn't. Instead, I was miraculously standing straight up with each one of these marvelous nurses holding an arm, tenderly yet securely. Okay, little steps now. I kind of shuffled 2 steps, my tubes and intravenous bag following alongside. I sat down in the chair, tentative as ever, positive that everything would splat apart. My nurses placed a blanket over my lap, reclined my chair back a bit, soothing me in the process. We'll be right outside. They left, closing the curtain behind them, and there I sat, completely still. Without moving my head, I darted my eyes up to the clock. 2:25. What a traumatic 10 minutes. Sitting in the chair, I was so afraid I'd hurt myself by moving the wrong way. I was convinced that if I twisted the least bit, my staples would come out, the wires that held my rib cage together would shift apart and become misaligned and heal wrong. My stomach and intestines would spill out all over the floor and drip into my urine bag. Good morning, by the way. Into my urine bag. While I was at it, I wondered if my visitors would be able to see that bag of urine. Was it hidden? Who cares? I just had heart surgery. By the way, some friendly advice. If you ever have a hospital stay, leave your pride in the lobby before you get there. The quicker you learn not to care which parts of your body the nurses see, the more enjoyable the overall experience will be. I had hoped to make my nurses' jobs as easy as possible. Sue, my wife, who was a nurse herself, would come home from her hospital with tales of difficult, uncaring patients. So out of respect for Sue and all the nurses with whom she shares her profession, I didn't want to be one of those difficult patients. I needed to be a good one. But I knew it wasn't working. I was doing the best I could, but I felt like such a failure. I was so weak, so dependent on my nurses. Without question, now I was most doubtful of my survival than at any other point leading up to this moment. Soon enough, I felt that syringe empty its magical liquid into my shoulder. I knew I'd be floating within minutes. The minutes became seconds. There I found myself, across the universe, without a care. Thank you.
Guys, ready for the show? Yeah. Enjoy it.
You know you already want a Toyota, but when you want more from your Toyota store, you want Smithtown Toyota, where every Toyota comes with Smithtown Toyota's Toyota for Life program, giving you lifetime New York State inspections, lifetime 10% discounts on all parts and service, 2 years of complimentary oil changes, 2 years of scheduled maintenance, and more, all at no cost to you, plus low clear-out deals on every Toyota in stock. Get more from your Toyota store. Hurry to Smithtown Toyota.
For professional motorcycle transport and towing, think Kickstart Fabrications Motorcycle Towing. Proudly serving all of Long Island, we feature expert handling and 24/7 service. So send a limo for your toy with Kickstart Fabrications Motorcycle Towing.
All right, folks, we're back, and we just heard Steve Ludwig reading from CU and CCU, and yours truly is going to read from Apartment 4B, like in Brooklyn, which is a short story collection, all true stories growing up in the turbulent East Flatbush of the 60s and 70s. East Flatbush, Brooklyn, for you out-of-towners. And this story is called Pledging Allegiance, and true story. Kevin was a Jehovah's Witness. I had no idea what that meant, nor did any of the kids even care. A big, stocky, nice enough looking black kid, he wore a thick pair of glasses that made him look more studious than he really was. I'd walk with him to the junior high, and the subject of his religion only came up once when he mentioned that his family didn't celebrate birthdays. You don't have a birthday party? That sucks. Kevin lived at the end of the street in an ancient 4-story next to the funeral home. He kept to himself a little more than most on the block and didn't curse like the rest of us. And although he wasn't on my best friend list, I liked the guy. He was good at sports, loved comic books, and we got along just fine. He was just another kid. Too bad his teacher didn't think so. It was our first assembly at Junior High School 246, and we were about to start it off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Now, every student loves the pledge, and the Star-Spangled Banner too. Nobody knew what the hell we were saying or singing because it was basically just beaten into us at a very young age like the ABCs. I wouldn't know an indivisible from a rampart if they were standing in front of me. And I was pretty sure I'd heard the kids sing, "Jose, can you see?" at least a few times. Like Shakespeare, they were pretty much just words to us. All rise, the principal commanded. And like the robots we were, we did just that. I pledge allegiance. Bored already, I glanced around the large auditorium at the hundreds of parrots in their blank faces, all except Kevin, who sat in the middle section towards the back. Only he remained silent and seated, his eyes uncomfortably glued to the floor. Seconds after I spotted him, so did his teacher, a graying, unimpressive-looking white man around 40. His eyes were on fire as he motioned to him, "Get up!" Kevin wouldn't move. The teacher stormed towards him, pushed his way into the row, and angrily lectured him. Finger in Kevin's face, my heart raced as I immediately knew what was going on. This wasn't some kid being a brat. This wasn't a standing up to authority, I ain't getting up kind of deal. This was a Jehovah's Witness thing. Why couldn't the teacher see that? We were up to the liberty and justice for all part as he forcibly yanked poor Kevin out of his chair by his shirt. With tears pouring down his face, he was dragged out the back door by the much larger man. Even the most robotic student was aware of what was going on, and all eyes were on the drama playing out before us. In the brief seconds between the pledge ending and everyone's favorite song beginning, I heard Kevin in the hallway screaming over and over again, I can't, I'm not allowed to. Part of me wanted to run out of that auditorium and tell the teacher to leave him alone. Part of me wanted to scream at that teacher that what he was doing was cruel and ignorant and wrong. But standing up for what was right just wasn't in my programming. So instead I sang over the land of the free and the home of the brave. Thank you. Thank you. And one final story. This is about my late dad, and it's called Dad, the appropriately named Dad. Mom always told me I never cared about looks. If I did, I wouldn't love your father so much. I was surprised when she said that. True, he had always been self-conscious about losing his hair and combed the few remaining strands in a vain attempt to cover what was no longer there. And yes, his nose went every which way. It had been broken 7 times from flying fists and elbows in high school basketball competition. And oddly enough, a doctor told him his protruding brow was rare and linked him to the Mongols and Genghis Khan. He always laughed about that one. But Dad was all city for Staten Island's Curtis High. He fulfilled many an athlete's dream of playing at Madison Square Garden. And during the big one, he served as an Army corporal, helping to liberate a concentration camp. But most importantly to me, he was the warmest and funniest guy I'd ever met. He was my hero. Dad drove a New York City yellow cab. Every night he'd come home with stories to tell. People always said he had a book in him. But who had time to write when you drove 14 hours a day, 6 days a week? But he told the stories like a natural storyteller, again and again, to the point where I could probably tell them myself. One day I came down Broadway on a rainy, windy night, and some lunatic on a motorbike cut me off, Dad said. The light changed, and he stopped on a dime, and I missed his back foot by about 1/4 of an inch. In those days, helmets weren't compulsory. And he turns around, and I look at him. His hair is turning gray. He has like the bluest eyes in the United States. And of course, it's Paul Newman, God's gift to the women. So I had 2 women in the back of the cab, and he started to curse me. And he was so wrong, it was unbelievable. So I said, why don't you go back to Hollywood, you big ham? So the next thing you know, I'm out of the cab, and both of us are pushing each other and winding up. And I'm about 2 inches taller, and at the time, maybe 25 pounds heavier. Mr. Newman's nose was about to get broken. My nose had been broken about 7 times playing ball, so it wouldn't make much difference. But I would have been the most hated cab driver in the U.S. because at the time, which was probably about 1967 or 68, he was really going strong. Finally, we backed off when a big Irish cop broke it up. And the kick line to the story is that in my back pocket, I had tickets to a play with Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward. I love my dad's cab stories. They seem larger than life, much like Dad. Folks, thank you so much. You could check out the book at legendstv.net under the store. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, folks. That'll about do it for Legends TV. Join us next week. Carol Williams, Carol Douglas, Tar from the Bush, author James Arena. Don't miss it.